I'm Helmut Licht. Thank you for joining me in this first video on the Decanate Chart. The idea of decanates has been around for millennia. Ptolemy, in his book Almagest, written about 150 AD, lists 48 constellations. Take away 12 constellations for each of our zodiac signs, and there remain 36 constellations, one for each of the 36 decanates. Decanates have not been used that much in astrology, except for the Brotherhood of Light, which is now called the Church of Light. In its seventh course, called Spiritual Astrology, it delves into the concept of decanates and associates a beautiful story with each of them, illustrating the meaning, the deeper meaning of that particular decanate. It's a gem of a book. I recommend highly that you get it for yourself. Their website is www.light.org. Again, it's the seventh course called Spiritual Astrology. Let me quickly now introduce you to the concept of decanates, explain to you what they are, and then show you my astrological subsystem, which I have named the Decanate Chart system. This system has already been incorporated in two software programs. One is called Intrepid, and the other one is astroapp.com. All right, here we go. Every sign has 30 degrees. Right now, I took Aries. You see the three sections. The first 10 degrees from 0 to 10. The second 10 degrees from 10 to 20. And then the third 10 degree section from 20 to 30. In a chart wheel, it would look like this. Here's the first 10 degrees of Aries in red. The second 10 degrees in orange. And then the third 10 degrees in purple. Each of these 10-degree areas is called a decanate. Aries is a fire sign and thus belongs to the fire triplicity. The other two fire signs are Leo and Sagittarius. The three decanates of a sign have an affinity with the three signs of that triplicity. Thus, the first decanate of Aries has an affinity with the entire sign of Aries. And the second decanate of Aries has an affinity with the entire sign of Leo. And the third decanate of Aries has an affinity with the entire sign of Sagittarius. And this decanate to whole sign relationship forms the foundation at this point in time of all the work that has been done in connection with decanates. However, my out-of-bound Mercury wanted to go a little further, so let me explain to you what I mean by that. To begin with, I simply changed the word affinity, which I used earlier, to the word corresponds. And this opened up a whole new set of ideas, which I will explain to you now. I stated earlier that the first 10 degrees of Aries has an affinity with the entire sign of Aries. Let me restate this now. The first 10 degrees of Aries correspond to the entire sign of Aries. And now let's look at this from a different perspective. Here we are projecting the first 10 degrees of Aries into a 30-degree area of Aries. And you might say, how is this possible? Well, this is where the decanate zodiac comes in. The projected Aries sign at the bottom is called the decanate Aries. And I promise that you will understand this better as my explanation proceeds. So at this point in time, just bear with me. My reasoning is that if 10 degrees magnify into 30 degrees, then every single degree also gets magnified by 3 times its value. Which means if you have, for instance, a planet at 2 degrees Aries, its decanate twin would be located at 6 degrees of Aries in the decanate zodiac, not the regular zodiac. And if you had a planet located at 8 degrees of Aries, either natally, by progression, or by transit, its decanate twin would be located at 24 Aries in the decanate zodiac, not the regular zodiac. A planet located at 13 degrees of Aries in the regular zodiac would have its decanate twin at 9 Leo in the decanate zodiac. And a planet located at 17 degrees of Aries in the regular zodiac would have its decanate twin located at 21 Leo in the decanate zodiac. And one more example, if a planet were located at 26 degrees of Aries in the regular zodiac, its decanate twin would be located at 18 Sagittarius in the decanate zodiac. Now I will show you the Decanate Chart in action. This is my natal chart as shown in Intrepid software. It only shows the natal sun at this point at 4 Cancer 22. I now create a second ring by hitting Control E. There it is. And initially it shows the same positions as my natal position. I can now go to outer and stipulate what I would like the outer ring to show me. So I click on outer. I go down to decans and dwarfs. I go over to decanate. There's 2 systems in this particular program. The sign-based one is mine. I click on here and watch what happens to the sun. The sun's decanate twin is now at 13 Cancer 06, which is exactly 3 times the value of its natal position. 4 Cancer 22. 4 times 3 is 12. 22 minutes times 3 is 66 minutes, which is 1 degree and 6 minutes. Add that to 12 and you get 1306. So my decanate twin of my natal sun is located at 13 Cancer 06. Please note that my natal sun is located in the first 10 degrees of Cancer, which is the pure Cancer decanate. However, my decanate sun has moved into the second 10-degree area of Cancer, which corresponds to Scorpio. This gives my sun and my individuality a definite Scorpion overtone. Take the sun out and bring the moon up. Same here. Natally, my moon is at 16 Gemini 18. Its decanate twin is at 18 Libra 53. Notice, please, that you can now interpret the meaning of your decanate moon by reading up on what does it mean for the moon to be in the 11th house in Libra. You have 2 meanings now. One for your natal moon position at 16 Gemini in the 7th house, and another one, 18 Libra in the 11th house. Note also, please, that the 2 are forming a trine, because aspects have to be considered too. Now, we don't have any cookbooks that say moon trine moon, but you know what trines are, right? Let's take the moon out. Let's bring in Mercury. Mercury is in Cancer in the 8th house. At the decanate twin is at Cancer in the 8th house still. Notice, please, that my natal Mercury is in the first 10-degree area of Cancer, which is the purely Cancer decanate. But my decanate Mercury has moved into the Pisces decanate of Cancer, giving it a definite Piscean overtone. Just a quick reminder, if a planet's natal position is less than 10 degrees, its decanate twin will stay within that original sign. In my case, the Sun and Mercury both had less than 10 degrees. The Sun had 4 degrees, Mercury 8 degrees. Therefore, they're decanate twins. stayed within the sign of Cancer in the Decanate chart, the Decanate zodiac. Take Mercury, bring in Venus. Venus, the same here. It's natally in the 9th house in Leo, and its Decanate twin is still in the 9th house in Leo. Mars, Mars is moved. Mars natally is in 12th Cancer, and its Decanate twin is at 8 Scorpio in the 12th house. So I would, this is my chart, I would have to now also read up on Mars in the 12th house in Scorpio. And note again, a loose trine. Let's take Mars out and bring in Jupiter. No major displacement here. From 2 to 6, and 13 times 3 is 30, was 39, but this might not have been exactly 13. This might have been rounded up. And let's take Jupiter out, bring Saturn in. Saturn natally in the 5th house in Aries. I would now have to read up on Saturn in the 9th house in Leo. A whole new meaning. Let's take Saturn out, bring Uranus in. Major displacements here too. I shouldn't say displacement, major projection here too. Natally at 16 Taurus in the 6th house, my Decanate Taurus at 19 Virgo in the 10th house. Let's take Uranus out, bring in Neptune. Neptune natally at 18 Virgo in the 10th house. The secondary meaning now for Neptune would be in Capricorn in the 2nd house. All new meanings. And when you start reading up on them, they will mean a lot to you. Take out Neptune and bring in Pluto. Pluto natally in Cancer in the 8th house. My Decanate Pluto is at 26 Pisces in the 4th house. Now, let's bring in all the planets. Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. And here we have my natal planets on the inside and my Decanate twins on the outside. You look for aspects now between the Decanate twins and the natal planets. For instance, the moon, my Decanate moon at 18 Libra is now opposing my natal Saturn. So you can now safely go into a cookbook. Robert Pillage here is a good one. And read up on moon opposing Saturn. What else do we have? Well, Uranus Decanate twin is conjuncting my natal Neptune. I will read up on Uranus conjunct Neptune. Any aspects here? Possibly, my Decanate Saturn is squaring my ascendant, and my Decanate Venus is squaring my ascendant. My Decanate Mercury is trining my ascendant. And so on. You have to go through all your planets now and find aspects. Read up on these aspects, and they will give you tremendous insight, additional insight that ordinary chart does not give you. I will now show you quickly how Astro App application works with respect to the Decanate chart. I type in astroapp.com. Here is the Astro App homepage. My name is already here. I'll have to launch now the application. Click on here. It's asking me for my password, which I will now put in. And I will log in. Good. Here's the main page. Let me maximize it. And I go into charts. I saved my chart in open favorites charts. Here we go. And here is my chart. I click on it and say open. Here it is. Make it a little rounder. I now go into traditions, modern, and scroll down to Decanate Chart. Right here it is. It also has my vertical zodiac in there, just so you know. I click on Decanate, and here's my Decanate chart, my Decanate planets. Now notice over here it lists my natal chart and it lists my Decanate chart. I now go to View and click on Multi-Wheels. Notice here is my natal chart again. Here's my Decanate chart. I highlight my natal and drag it down in this area right here. It's now down here. I click on the Decanate chart and drag it down here. And then I say, okay. It should now show me both. Here they are, both charts. My natal chart on the inside, my Decanate chart on the outside. As simple as that. This particular program is on the internet, which means you don't get a CD, you need to download. It's upgraded all the time, and the moment you go into it, you get the latest version. I believe you pay a monthly fee or a yearly fee, and then you have access to it. No matter where you are, no matter what computer you use, Mac or Windows, you just go online and bring up their homepage, and there's your program. You can even bring it up on your iPhone and your iPad. Amazing. That's about it. This concludes my first video on the Decanate chart. We have dealt with the natal chart here, which means nothing was moving. In my next video, we get into transits and progressions, and we'll explore what happens in the Decanate chart when planets begin to move. It is fascinating, and I look forward to seeing you then. I hope you apply what you have learned here. Give me some feedback. I would really appreciate that because this is new to me and it is new to you. And the more people use it, the more we will expand our knowledge of the Decanate chart. Have a great day. Happy astrology.